course of this process, I had the chance to speak with Coach Sullivan and Sidney Crosby. I thought that those were very important people for me to get a real deep sense of where they felt the organization was at and where it would be going, so that I knew coming in where they felt the Penguins were at and what they felt the Penguins would need for somebody in this role. Those conversations, a number of conversations with Coach Sullivan, but also the conversation with Sid were paramount in my decision to come here. They're some of the best competitors in hockey. Obviously, Mike Sullivan's record as a coach and Sidney's as a player speak for themselves, and that is one of the most exciting parts about coming here to Pittsburgh, to work with the people that are up with me here, but also every single day on the hockey operations side. I see this task ahead of us as a two-pronged effort. In the short run, it's continuing to make decisions that are going to allow the team to be competitive, while the core group of players that have led the team here to championships in the past continue to perform at the levels that they have for as long as they can, and make decisions that will support them in the lineup every night, that will allow the team to continue to contend each season while those players are with us. At the same time, the work will also begin at delivering a long-term hockey organization that can be the class of the NHL, and to reduce any gap in time that there otherwise would be from the end of those great players' careers to the next era of great hockey for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think that those are obviously very real situations. Everyone knows that they exist. To me, the effect on it, surrounding, whether it's surrounding the no movement clauses or the core that's here, is what we can add in terms of depth pieces, what we can add in terms of younger players, whether it's by trade or free agent acquisition mark. That'll be the real key that we'll set our focus on. And then in the next several weeks here, we'll begin to get a temperature for what the value is of all of the players in the market, and try to move this roster back to a point where I think the major focus is, number one, is inside of our division. That's the way that I always look at things, is, rather than try to stack ourselves up against all 31 other teams, is, okay, let's focus on our division, and let's focus on trying to win our division. We play the most games there. That's what's going to set our playoff seeding. We've got to be inside the top 3 to lock ourselves in, and our goal is going to be to win the division. So for me, it's going to be a hard look. Obviously, in goal, there's big decisions that need to be made. On defense, and both at the top of the defense group and on depth, there's big decisions to be made up front. There's less big decisions to be made, but there's more of what you speak of in terms of the number of commitments there. So it's going to be taking this next several weeks to sort through that. I think I don't know what the schedule is for, I'll do what Jen tells me in terms of media commitments, but by the time we have our next session, whether that's at the draft or prior, I'll probably have a much more clear and definitive answer for you, rather than just high-level stuff like today. The way that I looked at this and going through this decision, Taylor, from my end, was that I heard and talking to people who, once it kind of started to circulate that this was a position that we were considering after things wrapped in Toronto, I heard a lot of people that were highly skeptical of the team's ability to contend here. And the way I view it is that if people want to bet against Mike Sullivan, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Chris Letang, and others, they can go ahead and do so, but I'm going to bet on them and go with them here. So I do think that it's a group capable of contending to win a championship. I do think that we need to build out the depth of the group and supplement the greatness that those people bring each day. I think there are some of those pieces that are already here, but in the next several weeks we'll get to work on more of that at the same time, really having a huge amount of focus on the long term as well. Sure, I could tell you exactly what we'll do here is, having not been with Tristan every day, I'll rely on Andy Chiodo, who's the goaltending coach, and Mike in terms of what he's all about as a person. I'll probably try to take the chance to meet him myself and get to know him. It's a big decision for the club, and then it's going to be doing a very thorough evaluation of Tristan, where he stands in the marketplace, get a real scope of who's going to be available, whether that's in free agency or trade. And then if Tristan is at the top of that mix, or in that mix because he's familiar and you know him, it'll be to try to establish a concept that can get done with he and his agent. But that's a big priority because goaltending is vitally important, as you see. It's also difficult to project and predict, and there's a lot of variance year to year in terms of performance. But that's the method that we'll take here, and really in the next 48 hours, 72 hours.